Discover the hidden Israelite ancestry of some of the most powerful nations on earth. Watch as Scripture unveils the terrifying future of America and Great Britain as revealed through the sabbatical and Jubilee years. Discover the identity of Assyria and its role in this final Jubilee cycle. Learn of the pending judgments that are to be soon poured out as a result of transgressing the sabbatical years. Sighted Moon.
Why is all of this important knowledge? Like, why do we need to know what happened with Molek?
We're commanded, we've read it today, we're commanded not to learn the way of the heathen, not to do like the people did before us and how they worship their demons.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Sighted Moon podcast. I am your host, Ryan Knoll, and today I'm here with Joseph Dumond. Hey, how you doing, Joe?
Shalom, Ryan. How are you? I'm good.
Good. I'm doing well. Now, before we get into the meat of this, I want to direct all of our listeners, especially the new ones, to our website, sightedmoon.com. Visit us there. Sign up for the newsletter. You'll get a free copy of Joseph's book, The Stones Cry Out, Part 1 and Part 2, where Joseph demonstrates his expertise on all the calendars being promoted today and how each one developed over the past 2 millennia. Little by little, deception and misunderstandings crept in to distort the biblical calendar. The confusion that developed in the calendar also spread to the Jubilee years. Part 1 of this book explains history, chronology, so you can understand when and how and why the sabbatical and Jubilee years became corrupted. And Part 2 lists and explains every known sabbatical and Jubilee year with the 78 stones and counting, undeniable historical facts and hard evidence. So that's what we want you to get when you sign up for the newsletter. And also, visit us on the website, visit us on Shabbat. We have a Shabbat meeting, so you can come in and ask us questions and fellowship with us. So with that being said, Joseph.
Good
now
morning.
that my ad is over.
No, that's you know what? That's actually probably the best thing anybody could do is get those 2 free books. They're free. They're free PDFs. Read them. And you know what I'd like to do with you is I want to go through a lot of that stuff on the air so that people can listen to this, because you can't read your book while you're driving the car, but you can listen to this and learn some of these things.
Yep.
So what I'm hoping to do in a series of podcasts with you, not all at once, is to walk through every facet of the calendar so that people can understand. You know, that famous scripture, Satan's deceived the whole world. How in the world can Satan deceive the whole world? When did it start? What has he done to do it? That's what we're going to expose. And once, you know, once you see it,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot not see it anymore.
Right.
So right now, we have a number of groups that are attacking our teachings. Great. I hope they attack them. But they are so superficial and so, what's the word? Blatantly. It's like a kindergarten student going against a university professor.
Right.
Like the research just isn't there on their part.
Yeah,
and it's so sad, but a lot of people follow them. And that's the disappointing thing. So I want to expose each aspect of this, and we're going to do it methodically, step by step. You already know some of it, so I'm hoping that we can go deeper and just make this worthwhile listening to. And
I'm actually excited. I'm actually excited about this because I'm probably going to learn a lot too.
It's, you know, for me, this is what got me started in this walk. Mm-hmm. Understanding the simplicity of the calendar. You know, people say it's so complicated. It's not complicated. What's complicated is when you try to impose on Jehovah's calendar your misunderstandings. And then it gets confusing and you don't know what to do. But when you start with a clean sheet of paper and just do what he says, it makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. And then all the other stuff starts to fall away. And So that's what I'm hoping to do. But we have, we have this other teaching that we should also do as well, because it's also part of it. And the calendar is important to learn when the holy days are.
Yeah.
But those holy days have been replaced with other holy or holidays from other religions. And
Right.
people don't understand that that is a sin, or against, it's against the commandments of God. So
Right.
the calendar, the holidays, the holy days, the Jubilee cycles, when they are, it's all part of the same package. And here at sightedmoon.com, it's one of those things that we continue to teach over and over. We get
Right.
people mad because we expose their false teaching. I think it's Leviticus. Leviticus 19. Let me look this up. Leviticus 19:21. I think it is. Leviticus 19.
1921.
See who gets there first.
Uh,
19:21.
and he shall
And you
bring
shall
his. I'm sorry.
go ahead.
And we got to do it
Go
at the same
ahead.
time.
Go
And he
ahead.
shall bring his trespass offering to Jehovah unto the door of the tabernacle of congregation, even a ram for a trespass offering.
That's not it.
That's not it?
No,
1921?
no. Maybe it's 19:5. And no,
You
that's
can read
not it.
it.
It's about the when you see your brother sinning.
Oh,
When you see your brother sinning, you're to tell him. I'm pretty sure it's 19 somewhere. So when you see your brother sinning, if you don't tell him,
yeah.
he's going to pay the penalty for that sin, which could cost him his life.
Yeah.
If it costs him his life and you didn't tell him, this is where it gets interesting, because you jump to Matthew, I want to say Matthew 5.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't say nothing to your brother and he dies for his sins, you will be held accountable for murder.
Right.
You will have murdered your brother by
Yeah.
keeping silent. And that ties into Ezekiel 33, or Ezekiel 3, where it says, if you see the sword coming and you don't say nothing, those people will die for the sins, but their
Right.
blood will be required from you. So you have a responsibility to speak up when you
Right.
see untruths being taught, or false teaching being promoted, or people just flat out sinning. You
Yeah.
must speak up. And, it's much easier to stay quiet and hide in the corner. And so
Yeah.
Sighted Moon speaks out, and we get a lot of people mad, and we get a lot of people angry at us for exposing their sins.
But we equally get a lot of people happy. Maybe not equally, but we have a lot of happy folks too.
Well, those people who actually do check out what we're saying and prove it for themselves, then they are, as they say in South Africa, gobsmacked and stunned, and just as I was. So, the teaching I'm going to show you today is one of the first ones I heard way back in 1982.
Woo! That was a year before I was born.
And it knocked me right over. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it. And I thought I was sitting there in the, just having another meeting. I had been in keeping the Sabbath now for about 6 months, and I was just starting to fall asleep because it's a warm winter's day, just like today, it's blowing snow outside, dark. And I'm just sitting, being warm, and starting to fall asleep, and the pastor is talking away. And he's telling me a story, and I'm listening to the story, and suddenly he starts to ring my bell. So if you'd like, we can talk about that, because that story changed my life.
I
And
think that'd be a great thing to get into because I mean that's the kind of thing that, it's a testimony, right?
yeah, so it's one of those things that changed me. There's a few, but this was one of those ones that changed me. I was already keeping the Sabbath, but I was still new and still sitting on the fence maybe, until we got to this point. And up until this point, I'd never heard anything about this. So I'm going to ask you if you want to read. We're going to start off in Deuteronomy 12, and we're going to read 1 to 4, and then 29 to 32. So let's start off with 1 to 4. Deuteronomy 12, 1 to 4.
All right. These are the statutes and decrees which you must be careful to observe in the land which Jehovah, the God of your fathers, has given you to occupy. As long as you live on its soil, destroy without fail every place on the high mountains, on the hills, and under every leafy tree where the nations you are to to dispossess worship their gods. Tear down their altars, smash their sacred pillars, destroy by fire their sacred poles, and stamp out the remembrance of them in any such place. That is not how you are to worship Jehovah your God.
Okay, so 29 to 32, same chapter.
When Jehovah your God removes the nations from your way as you advance to dispossess them, be on guard, be on your guard. Otherwise, once they have been wiped out before you and you have replaced them and are settled in their land, you will be lured into following them. Do not inquire regarding their gods. How did these nations worship their gods? I too would do the same. You shall not you shall not worship Jehovah your God, or hold on. You shall not thus worship Jehovah your God, because they offered to their gods every abomination that Jehovah detests, even burning their sons and daughters to their gods.
What? Why would Israel burn their sons and daughters to their gods? So that is what is this talking about moment? Like, what? So now I want you to read Leviticus 18 and verse 21.
Okay. You shall not offer any of your offspring to be immolated to Molek, thus profaning the name of Jehovah your God.
Okay, so that immolated to Molech, I don't know what that's talking about. So again, we got to remember the Bible is written not to offend people.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go back to the original words in Hebrew, then you start to see it uses some pretty strong language.
Right.
And when I do that, people get offended today when I use that strong language. But I'm just repeating what the Bible originally said. I'm not dumbing it down for them. Okay, so let's keep going here. Let's go to let's find a little bit more about Molech, and let's go to Leviticus 18, and we're going to read verses 1 through 5.
Jehovah said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and tell them, I am Jehovah your God. You shall not do as they do in the land of Egypt, where you once lived, nor shall you do as they do in the land of Canaan, where I am bringing you. Do not conform to their customs. My decrees you shall carry out, and my statutes you shall take care to follow. I am Jehovah your God. Keep then my statutes and decrees, for the man who carries them out will find life through them. I am Jehovah your God."
Okay, and now jump down to Leviticus 18, 24 to 30.
Do not defile yourselves by any of these things by which the nations whom I am driving out of your way have defiled themselves, because their land has become defiled. I am punishing it for its wickedness by making it vomit out its inhabitants. You, however, whether natives or resident aliens, must keep my statutes and decrees, forbidding all such abominations by which the previous inhabitants defiled the land. Otherwise, the land will vomit you out also for having defiled it, just as it vomited out the nations before you. Everyone who does these abominations shall be cut off from among his people. Heed my charge then. Do not defile yourselves by observing the abominable customs that have been observed before you. I am Jehovah your God.
So the people that lived in the land of Israel before Joshua entered the land did certain things. The Ammonites, the Moabites, the Canaanites, they did certain worshiping things that we're talking about here, the worship of Molek, and we're not to do the same thing. We're not to copy them. We're not to go and learn about these things. Although I'm teaching you about them so that you can see that you're not to do that, because we're now doing it today. And that's the thing. People don't realize that they're doing the exact same thing.
Right. And literally and I hate to cut you off mid-thought, but literally the word abomination, it means to worship a false god or another god.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Don't be afraid to cut me off, because this we want people to learn, and that's what you're doing.
Right.
So, okay, from the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, Molek, Moloch, or Molek, Molech, Muluk, Muluk, or Malak, Malik, is also Chemosh, Chemosh, Milcom, Milcom. These are all names that are found in your Bible. Malcam, Malcam, and they're in your Bible. And people associate them, but they don't put them together as being the same. So, many people call Jesus, the Messiah today. In Greek, his name is Iosus, right? So Iosus, I would not think that is Jesus, but if you understand it is. But Iosus is also a form of Yeshua, Yehoshua. And Yehoshua is another name is given to him, is Emmanuel, in I think it's Luke. So there are different names for our Messiah.
Well, it's like culturally appropriated pronunciations. Like it changed over time to different things. And all of these names for Molek that you're speaking, it's like something that evolved over a period of hundreds of years.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. You're right on. So all of these names are variants of the Hebrew words meaning the reigning one. A heathen god worshipped, again, this is from Zondervan, a heathen god worshipped especially among the Amorites with gruesome orgies in which little ones were sacrificed. At least in some places, an image of the god was heated, and the bodies of the children who had just been slain were placed in the arms. So a statue is created. The back is hollowed out so they can put lots and lots of fire in it. The statue gets red hot, like it's glowing hot, and the hands are held out in front of it, and then the infants are put in there on the hands alive. That's what this Molek is about. That's what this is talking about. And it's so revolting.
Yeah, it's gruesome.
Okay, so we don't do that today. No, I know. But that God, small g, is still being worshipped by other names. And so are you, in your particular religion, whatever religion you are you worshiping that God today? And again, go back to what we said at the beginning. Satan has deceived the whole world, not just one religion.
Right.
He's deceived the whole world. And as we get into the series more and more, you're going to see when exactly he deceived the whole world, because it all started with one person. So the word Baal. So Baal is Molek or Moloch, the god Baal, the sacred bull. So here's another symbol of it. It's called the bull. Was widely worshipped in the ancient Near East and wherever Punic culture extended. Baal Molek was conceived under the form of a calf or an ox. Again, why would they pick a calf or an ox as a symbol? So in the Hebrew alphabet,
yeah,
the very first letter is the aleph, which is the letter A, but in the original Paleo-Hebrew, it looked like a bull's head or a cow's head, a bull's head. And that represented Jehovah. So they've taken Jehovah, represented by the aleph, and they've turned that into the original Molek used to wear it as a horned crown.
Right.
And that's how it started there. And then the worship of the bull came down through the ages. But this is where it starts, and that's what it represents. So it's depicted as a calf or an ox as a man. So you got a calf or an ox head on the body of a man with the head of a bull. Hadad, Baal, or simply the king, identified the god with his cult. So again, when we look at the history of this event or of this worship, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's in different forms. It's different ways of doing it. Like,
Right.
you worship in your house a little bit differently than I do, but we're worshiping on the same days. And people keep Christmas and they keep Hanukkah. They worship a little bit differently, but they're keeping it at the same time. The
Right.
people also keep, oh, I just forgot what it's called. The
What?
Hindus keep it, the Festival of Lights.
Oh, Festival of Lights. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it either.
Diwali,
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Diwali. So it's also done at the same time. So again, it's this festival in the darkest of winter, but they have different traditions, but it's a similar festival.
It's all the same stuff at the same time. So that can't be coincidence, right? That the whole world is doing something at the darkest part of the year.
That's a moment, right? So the word Melech in the Hebrew is Mem Lamed. I don't know what that is. Mem Lamed K, MLK, and it stands for Melech, which means king. So this is where we get the word king from. It's the same word, but it's also used for this god, and it's a false god. I'll get you to read Amos 5, verse 27.
Okay, is that
So again, this now we're going to start to get into what Stephen was talking about, and here is Amos saying the same thing.
Let me find
Amos 5, verse 27.
Okay. I know you got it on the article here, but I just want to find it in my Bible.
That's okay. Gives people at home time to go look it up too, because I don't want them to just believe us. Unless you're driving a car, don't try and read this while you're driving a car.
Yeah, please don't.
But you shall carry Sukkot your king, and Kayun your images, the star symbol of your God, which you made for yourselves. So this is, and this is where Stephen is quoting Acts. I believe it's Acts 7:43.
You also took along the tabernacle of Molek and the star of your god Romphia, the images which you made to worship. I also will deport you beyond Babylon.
So Stephen is about to be stoned, and he's confessing to the Jews their sins that they were still doing at that time. Now, we think of the Jews always being holier than thou, but here Stephen saying that from the time they were in the wilderness, from Mount Sinai, they brought with them the shrine of Molech.
Right.
They brought with them their star, the god Rephaim. So if you're listening to this, go and look up those things. Look them up in the encyclopedia.
That's so crazy that they did that. Like while carrying the Tent of Tabernacle?
That's what Stephen's telling us.
Wow. Like like how did they get away with that?
Well, so here we go. Let's get into now let's go back to Mount Sinai. Okay, so they've now left Mount Sinai. 1 year after they left Mount Sinai, they come to the southern part of Israel, and they're camped there for 38 years.
Yeah.
So this is in the Sinai Peninsula. They're camped there for 38 years. And during that time, Moses writes the 5 books of the Torah out.
Yeah.
And some at the beginning and some at the end of those 40 years. Go to Leviticus. Leviticus, what am I looking for? Leviticus 20.
Leviticus 20.
And you can start in, I want to say, let's go to Leviticus 22 to 5.
Verse 2 through 5?
Yep.
Okay. So, you shall also say to the sons of Israel anyone from the sons of Israel or from the strangers residing in Israel who gives any of his children to Molek shall certainly be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. I will also set my face against that man, and will cut him off from among his people, because he has given some of his children to Molek, so as to defile my sanctuary and to profane my holy name. If the people of the land, however, should ever disregard that man when he gives any of his children to Molek, so as not to put him to death, then I myself will set my face against that man and against his family, and I will cut off from among their people both him and all those who play the prostitute with him by playing the prostitute with Molek.
Okay, so again, this is Moses writing this out. This is a problem that they're having in the wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
They have not yet entered the land. They're right beside the land, but they're not yet in. 2 Kings 17.
Okay, 2 Kings.
So now they've gone from the wilderness and they've gone around and captured Moab and captured Ammon, and they've now crossed the Jordan and they're in the land of Israel. And that was about 1379 BC.
Okay.
700 years later.
After the Exodus events.
Yes. 700 years later, we're now in 2 Kings 17, and I'd like you to read verses 16 and 17.
And they abandoned all the commandments of Jehovah their God, and made for themselves cast metal images, 2 calves, and they made an Asherah, and worshipped all the heavenly lights, and served Baal. Then they made their sons and their daughters pass through the fire, and they practiced divination and interpreting omens, and gave themselves over to do evil in the sight of Jehovah, provoking him. So the Lord was very angry with Israel, and he removed them from his sight. No one was left except the tribe of Judah.
So this is now the time of the captivity in 723 BC. And Israel is now being removed because of their worship of this god Baal and this god Molek, and passing their sons and daughters through the fire to him. Do you see something here? Okay, now I'd like you to read 2 Kings 21:6.
And he made his sons pass through the fire, interpreted signs, practiced divination, and used mediums and spiritists. He did great evil in the sight of Jehovah, provoking him to anger.
No,
Okay.
that's fine. So I'm showing you Israel's involvement in this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go to, I want to go to 2 Kings 23, and I believe it's verse 10.
He also defiled Topheth, which is in the valley of the son of Hinnom, so that no one would make his son or his daughter pass through the fire for Molek.
What's that telling you? So now you're being told the name of Tophet. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Tophet is a significant name because, so now, okay, so understand Israel's now gone into captivity. And now we're being mentioned the name of Tophet. Now I want you to go to Jeremiah chapter 32, verse 35. Jeremiah 32,
Verse what?
35.
35. Longest chapters in the whole Bible. Okay, 35. They built the high places of Baal that are in the valley of Ben Hinnom to make their sons and their daughters pass through the fire to Molek, which I had not commanded them, nor had it entered my mind that they should do this abomination to mislead Judah to sin.
So now Judah is doing it.
As it started with the rest of, so the other 12 tribes were doing it, or the other, what, 10 tribes were doing it, and then
All 12 tribes are doing it.
all 12 tribes are doing it.
The northern 10 tribes were kicked out of the land for doing it. That's when Jehovah divorced Israel.
Okay.
But Judah stayed and they seen what Israel did, and they committed atrocities worse than Israel, is what it says in the Bible. And now I'm showing you they too, Judah as well. This is Jeremiah, and Jeremiah is talking just before Judah goes into captivity.
Yeah.
Just before. So this is now 604 BC. And by 586, they go into captivity. So it's all around this time. And they're still worshiping this god Molek, and they're doing it in the Valley of Hinnom. So if you look at the city of David, the old city of David, that was the original city of Jerusalem.
Uh-huh.
You got the Kidron Valley, and you've got the Gehenna Valley, which meets the Kidron, and the Gehenna Valley goes up and around to what is now the Jaffa Gate. So that is, and then there's the Tyropian Valley up the middle there, and that forms like a letter Shin. But where the Gehenna Valley meets the Kidron, Gehenna was also called the Hinnom Valley.
Okay.
And where the Hinnom Valley meets the Kidron, that's where they set up this place called Tophet.
Okay.
Now, Gehenna, just a little side note here, Gehenna is where we get the Gehenna fire from.
Yeah.
Gehenna is where we get the English name hell from, or Hades.
Right.
Now, it's the place where the garbage was burnt. And as long as you kept throwing garbage on it, it would burn up.
Yeah.
But, right now at this time of year, there is snow in hell. And, like, you just stand about as much chance of snowflake in hell. Well, yeah.
Well, it's freezing over.
there is snow in hell in Jerusalem right now.
Okay.
Okay, so there's, again, just a little thing, but this is where this Tophet was set up. And what is Tophet? What does that mean? So we have, I'm going to read you something here. This is the 12th century Rabbi Rashi. He's commenting on Jeremiah 7:31. Tophet is Molek, which was made of brass, and they heated him from his lower parts, and his hands being stretched out and made hot. They put the child between his hands, and it was burnt, when it vehemently cried out. But the priests beat a drum, that the father might not hear the voice of his son, and his heart might not be moved. A different rabbinical tradition says that the idol was hollow and was divided into 7 compartments, in one of which they put 4, in the second turtle doves. No, they put flour, in the second turtle doves, in the third a ewe, and in the fourth a ram, and in the fifth a calf, and in the sixth an ox, and in the seventh a child, which were all burnt together by the heating of the statue inside. Later commentators have compared these accounts with similar ones from the Greek and Latin sources, speaking of the offering of children by fire as sacrifices to the Punic city of Carthage. Now remember Carthage, I want to come back to that in a moment.
Okay.
Which was a Phoenician colony. So Carthage flourished after Israel and Judah were chased out of the land. Those remnants of Israel and Judah that did not go into captivity fled to Carthage. They called them Phoenicians, but the Phoenician ships were all manned by Israelites.
So just a question. In modern day, where is Carthage on the modern day map?
Carthage is Tunisia.
Okay.
North Africa. So it's almost directly across from Sicily.
Okay. So
now the Carthaginians were a great power at that time. And they rivaled and fought against Rome.
Mm.
And they were, I believe, part of the Punic Wars.
Okay.
And when they lost the Punic Wars, and I want to say somewhere around 300 AD, I'm not sure the exact year, Rome was so disgusted with them, so disgusted at this thing that they did, offering to Molek, that they salted the land so that nobody could grow anything there ever again.
And another thing that I'm noticing with these sacrifices is that these were all sacrifices that were done in the tent of tabernacle, minus the seventh one, which was a child. But these are all ritually clean animals that were used in temple sacrifices.
Yes. You see how they got perverted?
Yep.
Now, again, let me just finish this. Um, Clitarchus, Diodorus, Siculus, and Plutarch all mention burning of children as an offering to Cronus or Saturn. Now, Cronus is another name for Cush, and Saturn is another name for both Cush, Nimrod, and Ham.
Mm.
Offering to Cronus or Saturn, that is to Baal Hamon, the chief god of Carthage. Issues and practices relating to Molek and child sacrifice may also have been overemphasized for effect. After the Romans finally defeated Carthage and totally destroyed the city, they engaged in post-war propaganda to make their archenemies seem cruel and less civilized. Okay, so maybe it's propaganda, you know,
Yeah.
but they found all these earthen vessels in these worship sites that had the bodies of infants in them, or these pits with all these infant bodies.
Oh my God. Hold on just a second. Are you hearing the background noise right now?
No,
Okay, good. Okay. Because my son is upstairs beating on this keyboard. I just want to
oh,
make sure that's not coming through.
I don't hear it.
Okay.
If you want to include the beating of the drums for Carthage, you can.
Okay, go on.
Okay, you ready to start again?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is from the Doris Siculus. This is 20 verse 14 of his book. There was um, there was in the city a bronze image of Cronus extending its hands, palms up, sloping towards the ground, so that each of the children, when placed thereon, rolled down and fell into a sort of a gaping pit filled with fire. Plato, Plato Republic, no, I'm sorry, I'm misquoting that.
Uh-huh.
Paul G. Mosaicus in his thesis describes it. There stands in the midst a bronze statue of Cronus, its hands extended over a bronze brazier, the flames of which engulfed the child. When the flames fell upon the body, the limbs contract and the open mouth seems almost to be laughing
Hmm.
until the contracted body slips quietly into the brazier. Thus, it is the grin is known as sardonic laughter, since
Gosh,
they die laughing.
that's brutal.
Where do we get this expression "die laughing" from? This is it.
Mm. Mm. That's
This is
interesting.
this is where it comes from. Um, so let me continue. Diodorus also relates relatives were forbidden to weep, and that when Agathocles defeated Carthage, the Carthaginian nobles believed they had displeased the gods by substituting low-born children for their own children. They attempted to make amends by sacrificing 200 children at once, children of the best families, and in their enthusiasm actually sacrificed 300 children. Plutarch wrote in De Superstitiones 171, the whole area before the statue was filled with a loud noise of flutes and drums, so that the cries of wailing should not reach the ears of the people.
Hmm.
So this is pretty ghastly, pretty horrific.
Right.
We've already read Leviticus 20, verse 1.
So
Um,
Topeth is basically the same thing as Molek. It's just these were just all parts of different names for the same evil, cruel child sacrificing god.
it's just different ways of doing the same sacrifice by different names.
Yeah.
If I can get you to go to Psalms 106.
Sure.
Psalms 106. I got to make sure I got all the right notes here now.
So 106. Okay.
Wait 1 second. I'm still coming there. 106:34. 34 to 20. See, I got 34 to 28, so it's 34 to 38.
Okay. They did not destroy the peoples as Jehovah had commanded them, and they got involved with the nations and learned their practices and served their idols, which became a snare to them. They even sacrificed their sons and their daughters to the demons and shed innocent blood, the blood of their sons and their daughters, whom they sacrificed to the idols of Canaan, and the land was defiled with the blood.
See, that's a mic drop moment there.
Yeah.
Reread verse 37.
Then they even sacrificed their sons and their daughters to the demons.
So it's not that you are sacrificing to the God, to the God of creation. You're sacrificing to a demon.
Yeah.
So like, just stop and ponder that for a moment. When you are sacrificing to or doing things on other holidays or holy days not commanded by God,
Mm-hmm.
you're actually sacrificing to demons. And if you stop and ponder that for a moment, you should almost want to throw up.
Yeah.
Because we've all done it.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be holier than thou and say, look at me, I'm Mr. Right.
Right.
I used to do this. I used to not, I didn't burn my children.
Well, obviously not. Yeah.
But we worshiped that same holiday.
Right.
And we were actually worshiping a demon.
Yeah. Yeah. The Christmas ham, right? Like food sacrificed unto idols.
Yeah, you've let the cat out of the bag. Yeah, that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So as I'm listening to my pastor present this, I didn't know what he was talking about. I'm thinking, this is horrific.
Right.
This is terrible. And I had no clue that he was talking about a holiday that I was about to keep 1 week later.
Yeah.
I had my tree up. I had the presents underneath it. I had the ornaments on it. I had all the draping. I had my star on top. I had no idea that's when this worship of Molek was kept. Carthage was so abominable for it. The Ammonites is where they got this from.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I was doing. So now the Catholic Encyclopedia says that the primitive title of the god was very probably, so this, referring to Psalms here, was very probably Melech, M-E-L-E-C-H, king. The consonants came to be combined through derision with the vowels of the word Boseth. Now, Boseth is that, that god that has a goat bottom and the man's torso and sits there with his hands in the air like this.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And it means shame. Boseth means shame, or king of shame. Speaking of the Phoenicians, so these Phoenicians, again, are the ex-Israelites that are fleeing Israel, and they bring this to Carthage.
Yeah.
And they bring this with them where they go, where they fled afterwards. And if you trace the Israelites where they fled after the captivity of 723, if you trace them, you can see where they go.
Yeah.
And you can see that this holiday follows them all throughout all these places. It's got different names, but it continues to be there.
Wow.
So let me read this. They deified the sun and the moon, which they consider the great forces that create and destroy, and called them Baal and Ashtaroth. Okay, so think about that. Baal, the sun god, Ashtaroth, the moon god. Each city had its divine pair. In Sidon, it was called Baal Sidon, the sun, and Ashtart, the moon. At Gibel, Baal Tammuz and Baalith. At Carthage, Baal Hamon and Tanith. But the same God changed his name accordingly as he was conceived, a creator or destroyer. It's a replacement for Jehovah.
Yeah.
Thus, Baal as destroyer was worshipped at Carthage under the name of Molek. As creators, they were honored with orgies and tumultuous feasts as destroyers by human victims. Baal Moloch was figured at Carthage as a bronze colossus with arms extended and lowered. To appease him, children were laid in his arms and fell at once into the pit of fire.
Hmm.
So I want you to go to Ezekiel 23:39.
For when they slaughtered their children for their idols, they entered my sanctuary on the same day to profane it. And behold, this is what they did within my house. Ho, ho, ho.
So this is before the temple fell. They're down at Topheth. Now, Topheth is where just outside the Pool of Siloam. If you know where the Pool of Siloam is in the
Yeah.
city of David, it's just outside that. They offered their sacrifices to Baal there.
Yeah.
They're beating the drums so that you can't hear the children screaming, and the drums are so loud. And then right after that, I feel good. I've just sacrificed, my son. I should get a blessed year. I'm going to go up to the temple now and worship God.
Oh my God.
Exactly. It's such a disgusting thing, but it's recorded in our Bible.
Yeah.
It's right
Yeah.
here, right? Okay, so I've got a long section here for you to read. I'll get you to read this. This is in Jeremiah 19.
But just before I do that, it's just kind of reminiscent of like when Christmas falls on Sunday, we come up, we go to our Christmas tree God, and we open up all of our gifts, and then we go to church.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah. So our tradition was to go to midnight mass
yeah,
because, I was told that all the animals knelt down at midnight because that's when baby Jesus was born.
yeah, right.
And I believed that for the longest time. And then I went down to the barn one day at midnight to see all the cows kneeling down, and they were just pooping and crapping. Nobody paid no attention to kneeling down or nothing. I thought,
Right.
what is going on here? So, yeah, it's
No.
another fake story that I was able to
Yeah.
slowly prove not true.
Where did you want me to go next?
Jeremiah 19, and we're going to read 1 through to 15. Okay, so again, Jeremiah 19 is before Judah goes into captivity in 586. And Jeremiah is being told something here about what they're doing at that time.
Uh-huh.
What they're doing at that time, just before they go into captivity in 586. Okay, go ahead.
This is what Jehovah says. Go and buy a potter's earthenware jar, and take some of the elders of the people and some of the senior priests, then go out to the valley of Ben Hinnom, which is by the entrance of the post of the potsherd gate, the potsherd gate, sorry, and proclaim there the words that I tell you, and say, Hear the word of Jehovah, you kings of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem. This is what Jehovah of armies, the God of Israel, says, Behold, I am going to bring a disaster upon this place, at which the ears of everyone that hears of it will tingle. Since they have abandoned me, and have made this place foreign, and have burned sacrifices in it to other gods that neither they nor their forefathers nor the kings of Judah had ever known. And since they have filled this place with the blood of the innocent, and have built the high places of Baal, high places to Baal, to burn their sons in the fire as burnt offerings to Baal, a thing which I did not command nor speak of, nor did it ever enter my mind. Therefore, behold, the days are coming, declares Jehovah, when this place will no longer be called Topheth or the valley of Ben Hinnom, but rather the valley of slaughter, and I will frustrate the planning of Judah and Jerusalem in this place, and I will make them fall by the sword before their enemies, and by the hand of those who seek their lives, and I will make their carcasses food for the birds of the sky and the animals of the earth. I will also turn this city into an object of horror and hissing. Everyone who passes by it will be appalled and hiss because of it, because of all of its disasters. and I will make them eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters, and they will eat one another's flesh during the siege and in the hardship with which their enemies and those who seek their life will torment them. Then you are to break the jar in the sight of the men who accompany you, and say to them, This is what Jehovah of armies says. To the same extent, I will break this people and this city, just as one breaks a potter's vessel, which cannot again be repaired, and they will bury their dead in Topheth, because there is no other place for burial. This is how I will treat this place and its inhabitants, declares Jehovah, so as to make the city like Topheth. The houses of Jerusalem and the houses of the kings of Judah will be defiled like the place of Topheth, because of all of the houses on whose rooftops they have burned sacrifices to all the heavenly lights and poured out drink offerings to other gods. Then Jeremiah came from Topheth, where Jehovah had sent him to prophesy, and he stood in the courtyard of Jehovah's house and said to all the people, This is what Jehovah of armies, the God of Israel, says: Behold, I am going to bring on this city and all its towns the entire disaster that I have declared against it, because they have stiffened their necks so as not to listen to my words.
So that actually came to pass. They did end up eating their own sons and daughters in the siege of Jerusalem that came after this. And they were buried in that area. So this valley that he's talking about is also called the Jehoshaphat Valley. The valley of the Kidron is called the Jehoshaphat Valley. That's where the judgment is going to take place at the end of this age,
Right.
in Revelation. So this is the same place that Jehovah's talking about. So I want you to also understand that the word Topheth is Strong's Concordance 8612, 8611, and it means, it's from the meaning of a place of creation. Not creation, cremation.
That
And
makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
And it's taken from the 8608 Tephath, meaning to play on the drum or the tambourine and to play with timbrels.
Wow.
So they did this to drown out the screaming of the children as they were burned alive. If you've ever put your hand on a hot stove, that's what your child was being placed on, alive. And when they screamed, their mouths were open and they would burn up and then fall into the pit below. Again, let's keep going, because the Bible's full of this. The Bible is full of this. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 30. No, Jeremiah 7.
Okay.
Did we already do Jeremiah 7:30?
No.
Let's go. Just Jeremiah 7:30, 31.
31. For the sons of Judah have done that which is evil in my sight, declares Jehovah. They have put their detestable things in the house which is called by my name, to defile it. They have built the high places of Topheth, which is in the valley of Ben Hinnom, to burn their sons and their daughters in the fire, which I did not command, and it did not come into my mind.
Again, they're still doing it. Jeremiah 8, 1 and 2.
At that time, declares Jehovah, they will bring out the bones of the kings of Judah, the bones of its leaders, and the bones of the priests, the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem from their graves. They will spread them out to the sun, the moon, and to all the heavenly lights which they have loved, which they have served, which they have followed, which they have sought, and which they have worshipped. They will not be gathered nor buried. They will be like dung on the face of the ground.
So here's another explanation, another thing that Jehovah's angry. He's so ticked off here because Israel is worshiping the sun and the moon and the hosts of heaven, Baal, Molek, and the moon god Ashtar. And he's mad. Why do they keep doing this? Okay, Jeremiah again. Jeremiah 32.
In the same chapter 8.
Jeremiah 32,
chapter
32, chapter verse 28. Then we're going to jump to 30, 35.
32, 28. 32, 28. Therefore, this is what Jehovah says. Behold, I am going to hand this city over to the Chaldeans and to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and he will take it.
Okay, now go to 30 to 35. So this is telling you that was to tell you the time frame that this is taking place in.
For the sons of Israel and the sons of Judah have been doing only evil in my sight since their youth. The sons of Israel have been only provoking me to anger by the work of their hands, declares Jehovah. Indeed, this city has been to me a provocation of my anger and my wrath since the day they built it, even to this day, so that it should be removed from my sight, because of all the evil the sons of Israel and the sons of Judah, which they have done to provoke me to anger, they, their kings, their leaders, their priests, their prophets, their men of Judah, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. They have turned their back to me and not their face. Though I taught them, teaching again and again, they would not listen to accept discipline, but they put their detestable things in the house which is called by my name to defile it. They built the high places of Baal that are in the valley of Ben Hinnom to make their sons and their daughters pass through the fire of Molek, which I had not commanded them, nor had it entered my mind that they should do this abomination to mislead Judah to sin.
So here in the early 600s, 586 BC, they're still worshiping these gods. They're still burning their children at that time. So now that we've got the audience, how long have we been on here for? An hour?
A little bit more than an hour, like an hour and 15, I want to say.
Why don't we wrap this one up today, and we'll come back here and try and finish it off next time.
Okay.
But I want people to go and study this. This was one of the first teachings I ever did at sightedmoon.com, but it's also one of the first teachings I learned when I began to walk this walk. So I hope you'll take and go and search out all these scriptures and prove this for yourself. Don't believe me. Go ahead.
So I want to, just for the sake of the audience listening to this episode, why is all of this important knowledge? Like, why do we need to know what happened with Molek?
We're commanded, we've read it today, we're commanded not to learn the way of the heathen, not to do like the people did before us and how they worship their demons. Mm-hmm. We're not to do that.
Yeah.
And yet we are doing the exact same thing. Oh no, we're much more modern. They've been saying that same thing for 4,000 years. We're not like the people before us. We're much smarter. No, you're not. You're doing the exact same thing.
Right.
You call it by different names, and you wonder why you're not being blessed. Well, yes, okay. So who keeps Christmas? Who keeps this great holiday? The rich people in the West. What about the rest of the people around the world? They can't afford to do it. So think about that. God's commandments, Jehovah's commandments in Leviticus 23 is for everybody, from the richest to the poorest, all the same. So if we're not worshiping God, if we're not worshiping Jehovah by keeping his commandments, and we're worshiping him by the commandments that we've instituted, then all these curses are coming upon the land, and the land is going to vomit us out.
Right.
So we'll get more into that next time. So I hope you come back.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. We'll carry this on probably later on this week. So, but again, I want to direct our listeners, both new and current, to visit us at sightedmoon.com. Sign up for the newsletter. You'll get the free ebooks, The Stones Cry Out Part 1 and Part 2. It's a great reading for your knowledge, for the calendar, for the sake of the calendar, and why the barley and the crescent moon. It's important to understand this. So again, Joe, would you mind closing us out with a word of prayer?
Thank you. Our Father Jehovah, our great King. Father, you command us to ask you for knowledge and understanding, to ask you for knowledge and understanding and wisdom. Mm-hmm. We're to ask you for that. So I'm asking you, Father, to give those listeners the knowledge of the history of your Bible, of your Torah, why you said certain things. Then give them the knowledge to understand what it is that is being said and why it is so important to you. And once they have these things, Father, bless them with the wisdom and discernment to see the evil that it is and how revolting it is. And bless them, Father, with the knowledge and understanding of how to keep your holy days and to begin to worship you as you commanded us to do. We pray, Father, that you open the eyes of our listeners.
Yes, Lord.
Open their hearts to want to understand and do your truth. We pray, Father, that you give them the eyes to see and bless them with that knowledge so that they can begin to walk according to your laws. And we just pray, Father, that you be with them and guide them so that they can all bring glory to the name of Jehovah in everything that they do from this point going forward. And we ask that in your great name. Amen.